Hi, I'm Dearborn City Councilwoman Leslie Herrick, and I'd like to welcome you to this edition of Council in the Community. Today we are at Hubbard Manor East, and joining us is Zainab Shami Yunus, the housing manager for the City of Dearborn. Thanks so much for joining us, Zainab.
Thank you for having us.
So today, could you first of all tell us a little bit about your role as housing manager for the City of Dearborn?
So I am the housing manager for the City of Dearborn. I've been in my role for a little over 7 months now. I oversee the 2 city buildings, Hubbard Manor East and Hubbard Manor West. We do have a total of 5 buildings. The other 3 buildings are ran by the Housing Commission, whom has an executive director whose name is Tim Supinger, and I oversee these 2 city buildings.
Okay, and just so folks know, the Housing Commission is a position that residents can apply to be a part of. Are there any openings on that commission right now that you're aware of?
Right now there is not. We're a full commission.
Okay.
We do have an executive director and 5 commissioners.
Okay, and that's a responsibility that our residents take very seriously when they're appointed to that commission, and we certainly appreciate the work that any of our commissioners do on our many city commissions. So you mentioned that there are 5 housing units altogether, Hubbard Manor East and Hubbard Manor West.
Correct.
And then the 3 other buildings.
Correct.
So tell us the difference between them.
So the city buildings are run by the city. They are moderate income, 55 plus of our seniors. And our 3 public housing buildings are run by the commission, like I said. That is for low income residents as well as residents with disabilities.
Okay, and 2 of the buildings are in West Dearborn and 3 of the buildings are in East Dearborn.
Correct, yep.
Okay, thank you. So this is an exciting time right now in our buildings because we've had a number of renovations. We're always updating and doing the things that we need to do to keep our buildings safe and comfortable for our residents. But there are some exciting changes that have happened in this building in particular recently. So why don't you tell us about that?
Absolutely. We've just finished renovating our community room. It's been a long time coming. We've redone the floors, we've painted the walls, and we're getting brand new shades put in. It's just a nice makeover for our residents to be able to use this area. They celebrate birthday parties, family reunions, and so forth. So it's a good place, you know, for them to hold their events, and also for a good place for us to hold, you know, our meetings and just interactions within our residents.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more about the opportunities that residents have to interact with each other in our buildings? What are the fun activities? And you mentioned meetings. Of course, there's a little bit of business that takes place as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. We do have our monthly meetings with our residents, so they can stay in communications with us if any issues arise, anything happens, anything new that's happening within the city, we make them aware. We are also working on having a sense of community within our buildings, making sure they're socially available to each other and getting to know each other as a community. Recently, we've just started looking into having fitness classes in the buildings. So starting next week, we will have an instructor coming into the buildings to go ahead and teach these fitness classes, and we will also be offering fitness classes to go into the recreation center so they can get out of the building a little bit but still be with each other and you know, interact that way. So building a sense of social you know, cues and organization within our residents is a big deal for us, and just making sure everybody knows each other and works well within each other.
And fitness is a really exciting addition to the lineup of programming. What are some of the other like games and activities that take place?
So we do bingo nights. You know, they come and they play cards, and we do theaters, movie nights. We do big parties like Super Bowl parties in our theater room, and that's available to our residents as well.
And that makes it a lot of fun to live here and to get to know your neighbors. You mentioned going over to the Ford Community and Performing Arts Center for some of the activities there. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the public transportation that's available if residents don't have their own car?
Well, we do have our own city bus that actually comes in weekly. We have a route every single day for our residents, whether it be for shopping, visiting different museums, or actually going to the rec center for fitness. That's available to them. So if somebody does not have a car, they can go ahead and sign up for the bus transportation, and they can also go there and use that up.
And is there a charge for that?
There is no charge for that.
Isn't that nice?
Absolutely,
Yeah, very
yes.
convenient for our seniors. If somebody is interested in learning more about what it is, the units that are available here, and might be interested in applying for a unit, what's the process that they go through?
Well, they usually can go onto the City of Dearborn website. We have information there. Our lists are currently closed. We do have a wait list that we have to go by. That list is currently closed. It just closed recently for Hubbard Manor East. It was open for a little bit. But once we do have an open list, we do let the city know, through the website or whether it be through our newspaper, they are made aware that this list is available to them and the application process and how to proceed.
So Zainab, you said you've been here in your role as the manager of the housing department for a little less than a year. In that time, some significant things have changed as far as where the staff is located for the housing department. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and why the change was made?
Okay. Well, within the last year, and especially of me coming in, some of the staff, we were all located at the Dearborn Administrative Center. And we thought it would be better off for staff to be within the actual building itself, to be readily available to residents on the daily. So our administrative staff managers have already moved into the buildings. We went ahead and we're renovating the offices and making office space for the entire staff to be located at Hubbard Manor East or Hubbard Manor West. This will make us more available to our residents on the daily. If situations were to arise or if a resident does need us, they wouldn't have to get in their car and drive all the way over to the Dearborn Administrative Center. They would have us readily available in the actual building to immediately take care of a problem or a question or a situation that we would have to take care of instead of having to go all the way out.
So how many people work in the housing department right now, and are a couple of them staying at the Dearborn Administrative Center, like if somebody's first applying, and that's where naturally a lot of people would think to go at first?
No, absolutely. Our entire staff is moving here. We already, like I said, our custodial staff, our maintenance staff, and our managers are in the buildings. The rest of our staff is about a group of 8 people that will be moving into the buildings within the next month or so.
I think it's terrific that we have staff that's going to be actually in the buildings where the residents can interact and know who's kind of behind the scenes in our housing department. What kind of feedback do you get from the residents who live particularly in Hubbard Manor East and West, since you're responsible for those 2 buildings?
Yeah, I mean, they're excited to have us in the buildings. It's going to be more convenient for them, obviously, and this is going to be more personable for them. We're going to get to see them often face to face. We're going to be able to put a name to the face to the name and whatnot, so it'll be really nice. I know they are very excited to have us here. They're not going to have to get in the car and drive over to see us anymore. It will be right there for them.
Well, that's terrific. I appreciate the changes that you're making and that Mayor Hubbard is making since he took office 2 years ago. Can't believe it's been that long already. But thank you for joining us, Zainab, and I wish you continued success in your role here in the housing department.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank you for joining us for this edition of Council in the Community. I'm City Councilwoman Leslie Herrick, and I look forward to seeing you next time.